Okay, guys, I'll go back. Technical crows back there, and then like, oh, I guess it's on solo thing. Sorry. I want to thank Loki and Segan both for helping me on this. Segan got a video, helped me put together a video we were uploading, and then Loki cut in this little fox always cut in, and they're both absolutely right. So sometimes it helps to get the god and goddess response too. But somebody asked me what, do I have any advice after all these years of being married? And so Godspousing 101, you have to keep going through the hard times. There's nothing easier in the world than to be married to a god when you have free spending money and you can eat out wherever you want, you can go on vacation and you can do all this stuff. That's easy. Anybody can remain in any marriage under those circumstances. That's easy. When you no longer have vacation money, when over the years you've been letting stuff, go one by one, and when times are hard and times are lean and times are tough, that's when it's hard to be in any marriage because, you're thinking of them as this god and you're like, why aren't they just going snap, snap and making everything happen? And as Loki has shown me, last 3 years have been hard on all of us, gods included, and our gods are feeling pretty beleaguered and beat up right now too, and they're overwhelmed too. They're like, I'm keeping you alive during a pandemic. Don't test me. They love us, they do, but I got that from from Loki. It was like, you're alive during a pandemic. What more do you want, woman? I'm doing the best I can. You have to keep going when times are tough. You have to have each other's back, you have to always support each other. It's easy to love Loki or any other god when we were lucky enough. We had this thing, and please tell me I'm not remembering the wrong spouse. We went on, yeah, it was definitely Loki. We went on a trip, and hoping it was Loki, we went to Ogilvy, and we still have the mugs. We still have the mugs because there were a bunch of extra mugs, and I took some other guy was taking like 3 or 4 off the table, so I just looked at the waiter and took one, and the waiter didn't say anything. So you got to keep the mugs. So we have like these wedding mugs, and they're like the most precious thing in the world, and they're quite worn, and we never did, manage to get to go back there, and then something happened, and there aren't that many trips anymore. And the one amazing thing about this place is if you go there, there are crows that roost there in the trees. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of crows. And it was just beautiful and it was magical. Well, that was the one and only trip we got to take together. And, after years together, you keep, I'm glad we had that chance to go on a trip together, but it's hard because you're not going on trips and maybe you're going through a rough patch. That is when you have to really be serious about the marriage. I know this isn't like the most, cheerful one, but that's the thing with marriage. They say there's like a 50 to 53%, sometimes more divorce rate among two mortals. It's hard to keep going when the wedding is over and everybody isn't catering to you and giving you gifts and you're not, away from your responsibilities. It's hard to keep going when you're unclogging toilets because you can't afford a plumber and you're doing all this other stuff. That is when it's hard. That is when the marriage gets forged into a true relationship. You have to have a partnership, have to have a team. You have to have each other's back. Right now, the gods are doing all they can. They are. It can feel like they've given up. It can feel like they're indifferent. They're doing all they can, I think, some days to tread water too. We don't see, in general, we don't see our gods as all powerful. We see them as very strong, certainly stronger than us. But they have a lot of people to take care of too. And I'm not a god, so I don't know how it works, but I'm getting back there. They're doing all they can. And, it upsets them too. I've noticed the gods upset lately, and I'm like, what's the matter with you? We're all going through personal stuff right now. Maybe you're going through health issues. Maybe you're going through health issues and financial issues and all this other stuff too. It hurts them when they can't just give us everything we want. You have to remember that, and sometimes you have to stop, I'm not crying, you're crying. You have to stop thinking of yourself and what you don't have. And I know there might be very important things you don't have. Hey, we're all in the same boat and it's currently leaking and me sink at any moment. And again, yeah, that's cheerful. But, sometimes you have to not think of what you don't have, even though it's really important, the things you don't have, and think about what you do have and be grateful for that. I know that can hurt sometimes when you're struggling, but we're all struggling right now. And you have to You have to remember that your God is doing, because they love you, because they're spouse, they didn't just marry you for funsies. They're doing all they can. They're doing all they can. And, part of the reality land is it's not like a novel for kids. They're not going to build you an undersea temple, or they're not going to take you to a penthouse, and they're not going to just, grace you with a lottery win. That doesn't always happen. If it has ever happened, sometimes you're going to be lucky that you applied for, EBT and that came through, and you're going to be like, oh, thank the gods. And some years that doesn't come through. And you have to realize that there are going to be tough times in any marriage. There are going to be financial struggles. Even though you married a God, there are going to be financial struggles. There are going to be health struggles. It's not all Skittles once you get married. And the ones that, like to pretend that nothing ever goes wrong, either they're lying to protect their spouse, or they're lying to make themselves look good, or they just haven't been through it yet, because all marriages go through a hard time. You have to be willing to be a team and be with your God, even when, you're not getting everything you thought you should. You might think, like, why am I not going on vacation? I have relatives that are so rich that literally every week they're going somewhere. Like, they can just do that. They're that wealthy. Why am I not getting that, right? Why didn't they just decide, wouldn't it be fun to take the poor relation once or twice? Um, you know, um, there are going to be times you're going to be going through and going through struggle, and you have to keep to the marriage. I know I'm repeating myself, but it's really important. I think people think, well, once I get married, I'll be the exception. I will be made rich, and I will live in a penthouse, and I will have everything. There are tough times in every marriage. So that's what I've learned over the years. You have to realize your God is doing everything they can for you. That it's not what you expected is what reality is like. It's just like if you married a mortal spouse and they went out and they got a job and it was not the job you expected, and they were struggling, and maybe you have to be on systems to make up some of the money they're not making. Welcome to this economy. Would you give up on them? No, not if you love them. You would stick with them. You married for better or for worse if you did the traditional vows. You didn't marry for better and better, married for sickness and health. You married for everything. You didn't marry just for health and better and better and better. That would be so selfish. We'd have 100% divorce rate. And I got, yep. And you're going to have health issues. You're going to have times you're going to struggle, but there's always better stuff at the end, guys. Even if we all lost everything tomorrow and we all had lousy health, I know this channel's so cheerful, you would still have your marriage. And that does mean a lot. Your God is your spouse. You should be madly in love, or not be married at all. I mean, you really should be madly in love. And remember that. Even on the days where it feels like they're not coming through and you're having health issues, be sure that they're trying as hard as they can. It's hard on them now, too. I know that's like not very cheerful, but that's what I got. I had done a video with Sagan, and then as I'm, uploading it, and there was nothing wrong with it from my perspective or Sagan's. I got this very quiet. I'm doing all I can. We all are. Do you think this is easy on us? So, look at it from their perspective. Yes, they're trying as hard as they can, and they feel your disappointment, and they know, you could use maybe more health or wealth or whatever. They're doing all they can right now. Just hold on to the marriage when it's, rocky and stormy. You just be realistic. I'm not saying fatalistic, be realistic. You're a grown but adult. This is for adults. So, if you're always going to be poor, you have to think, am I going to be okay with that? If you're always going to have poor health, and I always am, you have to be like, am I going to be okay with that? If you're not going to be okay, don't enter into a relationship with a God, because sometimes there's only so much I can do. Sorry. But I'm trying to just, open people's eyes, because I think a lot of people lie. And like that book that woman said, every health issue Odin always, cured, really hit me as a chronically ill person. And stuff I heard about Loki really hit me as a person, we all go through financial struggle. So you may always remain where you are. You may even dip a little. Hopefully the gods are kind and you don't, but realize the gods love us, and that even if we end up losing everything in our lives, I don't know why this feels timely for a lot of you, but it does. I guess because we're all struggling right now. It doesn't mean that the gods don't love us, or that's a punishment, or that they're favoring the people who aren't struggling. That's just the way of life, my dears. So that feels like it answered a lot of questions for one of you. I don't know why, but I felt like yes. That's it. You're not being punished. The God doesn't love other people more just because they have everything you think they want and they're having a much easier time. That's not how they work. They're doing their utmost with everyone right now. So if you like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later. Don't give up hope on your gods, guys. They murdered you for a reason. We'll see you guys later. Bye bye.